Imagine this. You are standing on a cliff overlooking a restless sea, and beneath the waves, hidden in the depths, lies a city. Not Atlantis, not a myth, but a real place, carved stones, strange machines, traces of a people who walked the earth millions of years before humans ever existed. Their structures are not like ours, their tools unfamiliar, their language lost to the endless march of time, and yet they were here, thinking, building, dreaming, until something, catastrophe, time, or choice, erased them so completely that the planet itself seems to have forgotten. What if we are not the first civilization to call this world home? What if buried in the rocks beneath our feet, locked in the chemistry of ancient soil, or submerged under forgotten oceans, there are secrets of a lost intelligence waiting for us to finally notice? This is not science fiction. It is a question that haunts geologists, archaeologists, and dreamers alike. Could another civilization have risen and fallen long before us, leaving traces so faint we have walked past them without a second glance? Picture a single artifact, a fragment of something unnatural, embedded in stone 100 million years old. Would we recognize it, or would we dismiss it as just another rock? Perhaps you're listening to this at 2 a.m., unable to sleep, wondering about these very mysteries that keep curious minds awake. Whether you're tuning in from your bedroom, your car, or wherever these questions find you tonight, consider subscribing to the channel. We dive into this mystery, not to find easy answers, but to let the question pull us into the deep, uncharted layers of Earth's past, where the line between history and possibility blurs. This idea grips us because it challenges everything we think we know. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old, a vast, restless archive of time that dwarfs human history completely. Our cities, our pyramids, our satellites, they are a mere blink, a few thousand years against billions. In that immense span, is it so impossible that another species, perhaps not human, perhaps not even close, evolved to think, to create, to shape the world in ways we cannot imagine? Maybe they built with wood or fibers that crumbled to dust. Maybe they lived in oceans, now vanished, or on continents now submerged. Maybe their intelligence was not in machines, but in patterns. Chemical signals, modified ecosystems, or songs that carried knowledge across generations. The question is not just whether they existed, but whether we would even know what to look for. The Earth is a patient eraser. Mountains rise and fall, oceans open and close, continents drift and collide. What was a city a million years ago might now be a layer of sediment, a scattering of strange minerals, or nothing at all, recycled into the planet's core by the slow grind of tectonic plates. Turn on that notification bell if these thoughts intrigue you as much as they do me. Consider the Yonaguni Monument, a massive underwater structure off the coast of Japan. Discovered in the 1980s, its sharp terraces, right angles, and precise steps look carved, deliberate, like the work of hands, not waves. Some archaeologists say it is natural, shaped by currents over millennia. Others whisper it could be older than the pyramids, a relic of a people lost when seas rose 10,000 years ago. Then there is the Bimini Road in the Bahamas, a line of stones beneath the waves, arranged too neatly to be chance. Some claim, yet dismissed as a geological quirk. These are not proof of ancient civilizations, but they are question marks, anomalies that make us pause. What about the Antera mechanism, a bronze device from the 1st century before Common Era, with gears so precise it could predict the movements of stars? It feels out of place, too advanced, a hint that knowledge might have deeper roots than we think. And then there are stranger tales, like the Koso artifact, a supposed spark plug found in a California geode in 1961, encased as if ancient. Scientists called it a modern object, a mistake, but the story lingers, feeding a hunger for a past more complex than we are told. This hunger is not new. Across cultures, stories of lost worlds persist, as if humanity has always sensed something came before. Atlantis, described by Plato over 2,000 years ago, was a civilization of power and pride, swallowed by the sea in a single night. MW, a lost continent in the Pacific, is said to have cradled a society of scholars before it sank. Kumar Rekondome, a legendary land off India's coast, appears in Tamil epics as a place of poets and wisdom, lost to rising waters. These are not evidence, not in the way science demands, but they are echoes, fragments of memory that might hold truth. The end of the last ice age, 12,000 years ago, saw seas rise over 100 meters, drowning coasts and islands. People who lived then would have watched their homes vanish, their stories carried forward in myths of floods and forgotten lands. Could these tales hint at something older, not human, but intelligent, a civilization that thrived millions of years earlier, before dinosaurs roamed? Or during the warm, wet Eocene? The allure of this idea is its audacity. It asks us to imagine a world where we are not the first to look up at the stars, to wonder, to build. It makes us feel small, but also connected, part of a story that stretches beyond our brief moment. What if 50 million years ago, a species rose, not with steel or stone, but with organic tools, woven shelters, bone instruments, or knowledge passed through chemical signals? What if they lived in harmony with the earth, leaving no scars, no cities, only subtle changes in the soil or sea? Or what if they were like us, burning fuels, mining metals, altering the planet's chemistry, but time erased their traces, leaving only whispers in the rock? The conspiracy-minded among us go further. They claim evidence has been found, artifacts in ancient strata, machines in coal seams, but hidden, locked away in secret vaults to protect the narrative that humans are the first. These ideas are shaky, often debunked, but they speak to a deeper truth. We want to believe the past is more than we know, that history is not a straight line, but a tapestry of lost threads. Science, of course, demands more than stories. It demands evidence. And the challenge is that the Earth is a relentless recycler. A skyscraper left untended for a few centuries becomes rubble. A million years, and it is dust folded into the planet's crust. A civilization from the age of dinosaurs, or even the Eocene 56 million years ago, would face odds stacked against preservation. Fossils are rare, requiring rapid burial and specific conditions to survive. Metals corrode, plastics degrade, and even stone crumbles under the weight of time. But what if the signs are not in ruins, but in chemistry? A spike in carbon, a layer of strange minerals, a sudden shift in the Earth's atmosphere. Could these be the fingerprints of a forgotten intelligence? The Curin hypothesis proposed by scientists in 2018 asks exactly this. How would we detect an industrial civilization millions of years later? It is not a claim that such a civilization existed, but a question of whether we could see it if it did. This mystery pulls us in because it is not just about the past, it is about us, about what we leave behind, about whether we are special or just another chapter in a story that began long before us. As you lie there, wherever you are, let this thought settle over you like a soft shadow. Picture a world before ours. Minds that might have watched the same moon, asked the same questions, and vanished without a trace. Imagine a single fragment, a tool, a symbol, a chemical echo waiting in the earth, unnoticed, unspoken. The night is vast, the planet older, and we are here, reaching across time to find them. Hello, I am Mr. Zizi, your host for Epoch History for Sleep, and I am so glad you are joining me tonight. Whether you are in a quiet village at 5 in the morning or a bustling city in New York at midnight, wherever you are, whatever time it is, you are part of this journey, and I am grateful for your company. If this kind of slow, curious exploration speaks to you, I would love for you to like this episode or subscribe to the channel. It helps this little signal find other travelers through time, but only if you feel like it. No pressure, just an invitation. For now, let us keep going, diving deeper into the rocks, the myths, the whispers that might tell us we are not the first. Deep beneath the sun-baked earth of South Africa, in the shadowy depths of a pyrrolite mine, near the town of Otto, miners have unearthed objects that seem to defy the very laws of time. These are the Clark spheres, small rounded forms, ranging from the size of a marble to a baseball, some perfectly spherical, others flattened, like discs, etched with fine parallel grooves that run around their equators, as if carved by an unseen hand. Discovered in deposits dated to 3 billion years old, these spheres have sparked endless debate. Are they the work of ancient intelligence, forged in a world before life, as we know it even began? Or are they mere concretions, natural mineral accretions, shaped by the slow chemistry of the Earth? The grooves, some argue, suggest precision tooling, perhaps evidence of a civilization lost to the Precambrian era, when the planet was a cauldron of molten rock and emerging microbes. Skeptics point to geological processes, hematite and goethite, forming in volcanic ash layers, compressed over eons into these enigmatic shapes. Yet when held in the light, their symmetry whispers questions. Why do some appear balanced, as if for a purpose, spinning freely on a flat surface? Could they be artifacts from a time when the continents were one? Pangaea still a dream of the future? The mystery deepens with reports of their hardness, resisting even diamond drills in some tales. Though tests reveal they are no harder than expected for their composition, conspiracy theorists murmur of suppression, museums hiding the spheres to protect the timeline of human achievement, fearing what a 3 billion-year-old machine might mean for our understanding of history. As you ponder this, consider how such finds force us to question the ground we stand on, turning every rock into a potential portal to the unknown. Not far from these spheres in the annals of anomaly lies the London Hammer, a discovery that surfaced in the summer of 1936 near the quiet town of London, Texas. Max and Emma Hahn were strolling along the banks of Red Creek when they spotted a peculiar lump of rock partially embedded in the stream bed. Upon cracking it open, they revealed a hammer, iron head, wooden handle, encrusted in what appeared to be ancient limestone. The rock was dated to the Cretaceous period, over 100 million years old, a time when dinosaurs roamed and the first flowers bloomed. How could a modern-looking hammer, with its 96% pure iron head and traces of carbon dating to the 19th century, be encased in such ancient stone? The artifact now resides in the Creation Evidence Museum in Glen Rose, Texas, where its owner, Carl Bohr, champions it as proof of a pre-flood civilization or even time travel mishaps. Detractors, including geologists from the University of Texas, explain it as a concretion, a rapid mineral buildup around a dropped miner's tool from the 1800s. The handle partially fossilized, but not truly ancient. Yet the debates rage. Why does the iron show no rust, as if preserved by some unknown process? Conspiracy whispers suggest it's evidence of advanced metallurgy in the age of reptiles hidden by academia to maintain evolutionary dogma. Imagine the implications if this hammer is genuine. It shatters our geological clock, hinting at intelligence's crafting tools, while T-Rex thundered across the plains. Each strike of that hammer echoes through time, challenging us to rethink the fossils beneath our feet. Venturing further into these geological riddles brings us to the Coso artifact, a find that electrified the world of out-of-place artifacts when it emerged from the Coso Mountains near Alancha, California, on February 13, 1961. Wallace Lane, Virginia Maxey, and Mike Micel were hunting for geodes when they split open a lump of what they thought was ordinary rock, only to reveal a ceramic cylinder enclosing a metal shaft resembling nothing less than a 1920s Champion spark plug. The encasing nodule was estimated at 500,000 years old, predating human toolmaking by eons. Initial excitement surged. Was this proof of ancient electricity? A battery component from a lost civilization? The object made headlines, fueling theories of time travelers or extraterrestrial visitors, leaving behind their tech. However, scrutiny from the spark plug collectors of America revealed it as a rusted Ford Model T spark plug, likely dropped by miners in the 1920s, and encased in a rapid-forming concretion of iron oxide and silica. Despite the debunking, the artifact vanished into private collections, sparking conspiracy claims of a cover-up by the scientific establishment to suppress evidence of advanced prehistoric societies. Why did early X-rays show no modern markings, only to be reinterpreted later? The Coso artifact lingers as a cautionary tale, a reminder that what seems impossible might be mundane. yet the thrill of its initial mystery endures, urging us to question every oddity unearthed from the dirt, shifting our gaze to submerged secrets. The Bimini Road, off the coast of North Bimini in the Bahamas, presents a pathway that leads straight into legend, discovered in 1968 by divers exploring the shallow turquoise waters. This formation consists of massive rectangular limestone blocks, some up to 13 feet long, arranged in a straight line stretching nearly half a mile. Edgar Cayce, the famed psychic, had predicted in 1938 that remnants of Atlantis would surface near Bimini, around this time igniting theories that this road was a harbor wall or avenue from the fabled lost continent. Geologists like Eugene Shin argue it's beach rock, naturally fractured and aligned by currents during the Holy Sign Epoch, about 5,000 years ago. Yet sonar scans reveal patterns too uniform, corners too sharp for mere nature's whim. Conspiracy enthusiasts point to Cayce's accuracy, suggesting government dives in the 1970s hid artifacts, proving an advanced Ice Age civilization. Divers report eerie sensations, magnetic anomalies, disrupting compasses, and even shadowy structures beyond the main formation. Could this be the gateway to Plato's Atlantis, a society of crystal technology and cosmic knowledge, erased by a cataclysm 12,000 years ago? The road invites us to dive deeper, literally and figuratively, into waters where history and myth converge, leaving us wondering if the next wave might wash away the veil of doubt. Amid these terrestrial puzzles stands the Baghdad Battery, a collection of artifacts unearthed in 1936 from a Parthian village site near Baghdad, Iraq. Each battery is a terracotta jar, about 5 in tall, containing a copper cylinder and an iron rod sealed with asphalt. Wilhelm Koig, the German archaeologist who first examined them, theorized they formed a galvanic cell for electroplating gold onto silver objects, generating a weak current when filled with acidic grape juice or vinegar, dating to 250 before Common Era to 225 Common Era. They predate Alandro Valter's battery by 800 years, hinting at ancient electricity in Mesopotamia. Experiments by the Mythbusters team and others confirmed they could produce up to 2 volts, enough for gilding or even medical electrotherapy, as ancient texts described tingling treatments for pain. Skeptics, including the British Museum's curators, counter that they were mere storage vessels for sacred scrolls. The internal components corroded remnants of organic material. Conspiracy theories abound. Were they part of a hidden network of ancient power sources suppressed by modern energy cartels? Links to the Dendera temple reliefs in Egypt, showing what some interpret as light bulbs, fuel ideas of widespread electric knowledge lost in antiquity. The Baghdad Battery electrifies our imagination, suggesting that the ancients might have harnessed forces we rediscovered millennia later, their secrets buried in clay, waiting for a spark of recognition. No exploration of geological enigmas would be complete without the Great Unconformity, a colossal gap in the Earth's rock record that yawns like a void in time. First noted by John Wesley Powell during his 1869 expedition through the Grand Canyon, this feature sees horizontal sedimentary layers from 540 million years ago, resting directly on vertical basement rocks, dated to 1.5 billion years old, a billion years missing, erased as if by a cosmic editor. Theories swirl. Was it massive erosion from a snowball Earth event, where glaciers scoured the planet during the Cryogenian period, 720 million years ago, or tectonic upheavals as supersedish continent, Rodinia broke apart, uplifting and wearing down vast landscapes? Recent studies in 2021 from the University of Colorado suggest multiple causes, including sea level drops, exposing continents to weathering. Yet mysteries persist. Why is the gap global, appearing in Scotland's Hutton's Unconformity, and even Antarctica? Conspiracy minds speculate intelligent intervention, an ancient civilization, mining or altering the crust, their activities scrubbed by time or deliberate concealment. Imagine entire epochs of history vanished, fossils of unknown species, pulverized into dust. The great unconformity stands as a silent sentinel, a reminder that the Earth's story has chapters torn out, leaving us to piece together fragments from the shadows. These anomalies, Koso's misplaced spark, London's embedded hammer, Baghdad's electric jars, Bimini's sunken path, Clarksdorp's grooved orbs, and the great unconformity's temporal abyss, form a tapestry of intrigue, each thread pulling us toward the possibility of hidden histories. They challenge the orderly march of geology, suggesting that beneath the familiar strata lie hints of intelligences that predated us by eons. Debates rage in academic halls and online forums, natural formations or artifacts of the impossible. The antique mechanism, while not geological, echoes this theme. A bronze computer from the 1st century before Common Era, recovered from a Mediterranean shipwreck in 1900. Its 37 gears modeling the motions of the sun, moon, and planets, with precision unmatched until the 14th century. Was it a one-off genius or remnant of a lost technological tradition, perhaps linked to Archimedes or Hippus? X-ray analyses in 2006 revealed inscriptions predicting eclipses and Olympic cycles, yet its origin remains shrouded. Conspiracy theorists link it to alien knowledge or time-displaced inventions hidden to preserve historical orthodoxy. As we sift through these enigmas, the thrill lies in the uncertainty, the way each find beckons us to question the ground beneath our feet. What other secrets does the Earth hold, locked in stone or sediment, waiting for a miner's pick or a diver's gaze? The controversies, debunkings by skeptics, passionate defenses by believers keep the conversation alive, reminding us that history is not a closed book, but a puzzle with missing pieces. Perhaps these anomalies are mere quirks of nature, coincidences amplified by our desire for wonder, or perhaps they are breadcrumbs leading to a past where civilizations rose and fell in cycles we are only beginning to glimpse. The Earth, after all, is a storyteller, its tales etched in layers, grooves, and gaps, inviting us to listen closer, to dig deeper, to wonder what lies just beyond the next unconformity. In the shadowed annals of Earth's most devastating chapter, the Permian-Triassic boundary stands as a grim testament to annihilation, on a scale that defies comprehension. 252 million years ago, in what geologists call the Great Dying, over 90% of marine species and 70% of terrestrial vertebrates vanished in a cataclysmic blink. The oceans turned toxic, forests withered to dust, and the air choked with sulfurous fumes from the Siberian traps, vast volcanic fields that spewed lava across an area the size of Europe. But what if this was not merely nature's fury? What if, buried in the layers of iridium, pore sediments, and anomalous carbon spikes, lies the echo of something deliberate, an industrial collapse, a runaway experiment by minds long extinct? Picture a civilization of reptilian sophons evolved from Permian synapsids, harnessing energy sources that spiraled out of control, releasing methane and carbon dioxide in quantities that scorched the planet. Their factories, their megastructures melted into the mantle, leaving only chemical scars. This is the tantalizing edge where speculation meets science, and it leads us straight to the Curin hypothesis, a framework that dares to ask, if intelligent life predated us by eons, could we even spot their fingerprints in the rock record? The hypothesis emerged, not from fringe theorists, but from the rigorous minds of two astrophysicists, Gavin Schmidt, director of NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, and Adam Frank, a professor at the University of Rochester. In a paper published in the International Journal of Astrobiology in April 2018, they posed a deceptively simple query: would modern science be capable of detecting an industrial civilization that existed on Earth many millions of years prior to our own. They named it the Curin hypothesis, a nod to the Curins, a fictional race of advanced reptilian humanoids from the British science fiction series Doctor Who ruled the planet before humans. But Schmidt and Frank were not indulging in fantasy. Their work was a thought experiment rooted in astrobiology, inspired by the Fermi paradox, the puzzling absence of extraterrestrial civilizations in the cosmos. If intelligent life is common in the universe, why no signs? Extending this to our own planet, they wondered, might Earth itself have hosted multiple cycles of intelligence, each erased by time's inexorable march? The paper does not claim such a civilization existed. Instead, it scrutinizes the geological record's biases, challenging us to consider what survives and what does not. As Frank later elaborated in interviews, the idea forces a re-evaluation of our Anthropocene impacts, mirroring them against hypothetical ancient analogues to probe the longevity of human traces. At its core, the Curin hypothesis flips the script on detection. Traditional searches for ancient life focus on fossils, bones, footprints, tools, but an advanced society might leave subtler, more pervasive marks through its environmental footprint. Schmid and Frank outline several key signatures that could betray an industrial past. Starting with geochemical anomalies and sedimentary layers, consider carbon isotopes. Burning fossil fuels alters the ratio of carbon-12 to carbon-13, creating a distinct dip detectable in ice cores and rock strata. Our own era shows this clearly, with atmospheric carbon dioxide spiking from 280 parts per million pre-industrial to over 400 today. If a Silurian-era civilization, say 50 million years ago during the Eocene, exploited similar energy sources, their emissions might linger as unexplained excursions in the isotopic record. But nature mimics art. Volcanic outbursts or methane releases from clads can produce similar patterns. The Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, 56 million years ago, saw a rapid 5 degrees C warming, ocean acidification, and a massive carbon injection, over 2,000 gigatons in mere millennia. Was this a natural burp from seafloor hydrates, or could it echo the fallout from an ancient society's energy binge? The hypothesis urges us to scrutinize such events, are new, asking if their rapidity and scale fit purely geological models, or hint at something engineered. Beyond isotopes, synthetic materials offer another breadcrumb trail. Modern humans litter the planet with plastics, pesticides, and rare earth elements from electronics, compounds unknown in nature. Microplastics now permeate ocean sediments, mountain soils, and even polar ice, potentially enduring for hundreds of thousands of years in anaerobic environments. Schmidt and Frank speculate that an ancient industrial age might have produced analogues, polymers from bio-based sources, or alloys with unusual concentrations of platinum, iridium, or transuranic elements from nuclear processes. These could manifest as anomalous layers in deep core samples, thin horizons of odd chemistry defying natural deposition. Yet degradation poses a hurdle. Ultraviolet light and microbial action break down synthetics. Over geological timescales, what survives might be fragmented, diluted into trace anomalies, easily dismissed as meteoritic debris or volcanic ash. The hypothesis points to the ocean floor as a prime archive where sediments accumulate slowly, preserving records for millions of years until subduction drags them into the mantle, recycling everything in fiery rebirth. With the average seafloor age at just 200 million years, entire epochs of potential evidence have vanished, melted away in the Earth's churning interior. Mass extinctions form perhaps the most dramatic canvas for Silurian scrutiny. The Permian-Triassic event, often dubbed the mother of all extinctions, unfolded over 60,000 years, a geological instant wiping out trilobites, gorgonopsids, and vast swaths of life. Traditional explanations invoke the Siberian Traps eruptions, releasing enough sulfur dioxide to acidify rains and carbon dioxide to trigger runaway warming. But the hypothesis invites a darker curiosity. Could an intelligent species have accelerated this? Imagine a Parian civilization perhaps descended from early synapsids like Dimetrodon developing agriculture and industry, deforesting continents and mining hydrocarbons. Their waste greenhouse gases, heavy metals might have tipped the biosphere into chaos, much as we risk today. Evidence. The event's carbon isotope excursion shows a massive influx of light carbon, consistent with fossil fuel combustion or biomass burning on a planetary scale. Iridium levels are low, ruling out a major asteroid, but trace elements like mercury spike, possibly from coal burning or industrial pollution. Schmidt and Frank note that human activity is already etching a similar signature into the Anthropocene, with biodiversity plummeting at rates unseen since the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction 66 million years ago. If future geologists unearth our layer, they might puzzle over the sudden die-off of megapora and coral reefs, attributing it to climate shifts, unless they spot the synthetic markers. This line of thinking extends to other enigmas, like the WOW signal of 1977, a 72-second radio from Sagittarius detected by Ohio State's Big Ear Telescope, strong, narrowband, and unexplained. It matched expectations for an extraterrestrial beacon, yet never repeated. Schmidt and Frank draw a parallel. Just as cosmic signals might evade detection due to transience or misinterpretation, geological ones could hide in plain sight. The Silleran hypothesis posits that ancient signals, perhaps radioactive isotopes from nuclear testing or fish byproducts, might decay or dilute beyond recognition. Plutonium-239, with a half-life of 24,000 years, would fade after 1,000,000, but longer-lived isotopes like uranium-235 could persist in enriched forms. Conspiracy theorists seize on this, weaving tales from sources like the Paris Review, where Rich Cohen in 2020 described the hypothesis as a plausible conspiracy theory. They claim governments or institutions bury evidence anomalous cause from Antarctic ice or ocean drills, showing unexplained spikes filed away to avoid upending history. Reddit forums buzz with speculation. Perhaps the Silurians were cephalopods, intelligent octopuses from the Orovision, their soft bodies leaving no fossils, only chemical ghosts, or link it to ancient astronaut theories suggesting extraterrestrials seeded or influenced early Earth societies, their tech mistaken for natural anomalies. Recent discussions, as of 2025, keep the hypothesis alive without breakthroughs. A June article in Science Focus revisited the paper, noting its relevance to climate modeling. If ancient civilizations left detectable warming signatures, our own might outlast us by eons. ZME Science echoed this, emphasizing how erosion and subduction erased 99% of surface evidence within 500 million years. Science in January highlighted the Parian link, speculating on synapsider-derived intelligences wiped out by their own hubris. YouTube channels like Star Talk, in a June 2025 episode, debated with Neil deGrasse Tyson, pondering if the Great Dying's mercury anomalies now linked to volcanic coal combustion could mimic industrial pollution. Even the Realized Worth blog in November 2024 tied it to corporate volunteering, using the hypothesis as a metaphor for legacy. What traces do we leave that endure? Cambridge's original paper remains foundational, downloaded thousands of times, inspiring astrobiologists to scan exoplanets for similar biosignatures, polluted atmospheres, or technosignatures like chlorofluorocarbons. The hypothesis's power lies in its humility, admitting the geological record's incompleteness. Vast swaths of time are missing, like the Great Unconformity's billion-year gap, where entire civilizations could have flourished undetected. It challenges us to rethink extinctions. The Orovision-Silurian event, 440 million years ago, with its glacial cooling and sea level drops, or the Devonian's pulse die-offs, 375 million years back, marked by black shales, rich in organic carbon, natural anoxia, or ancient algal blooms, engineered gone wrong. Schmidt and frank stress methodological rigor, multiple converging lines of evidence, isotopes, plus synthetics, plus biodiversity crashes would be needed to infer intelligence over nature. Yet the Tomo endures. What if the WOW signal's terrestrial cousin hides in a core sample from the Mariana Trench, a fleeting spike in rare earths from ancient mining? Conspiracy angles amplify this. Drawing from Cohen's essay, where he posits cycles of rise and fall, each erased, our own perhaps next. Reddit threads imagine Suminia descended beings causing the Parian crisis, their texts abducted away. Ultimately, the Curin hypothesis is a mirror reflecting our precarious position as we pump carbon into the skies, altering the very strata future scientists will study. It asks, are we leaving a signature that screams intelligence or one easily chalked up to volcanoes? The Parian Triasic's lessons loom. A world recovered but scarred, life rebounding in new forms. If an ancient society fell there, their warning echoes in the rocks, heed the chemistry, lest we join the ghosts. This framework does not solve mysteries. It multiplies them, turning every anomaly into a potential clue, every extinction into a question mark. As discussions evolve in 2025, with podcasts and papers revisiting the idea, the hypothesis remains a beacon for the curious, illuminating the shadows where Earth's true history might hide, waiting for the right lens to bring it into focus. In the dim glow of a West African night, under a canopy of stars that seem to pulse with secrets, the elders of the Dune people gather around fires that have burned for generations, reciting tales of beings from the sky who descended in a craft like a flaming ark. These Nomo, amphibious entities from the Sirius system, brought knowledge of the stars, agriculture, and the cosmos to the arid cliffs of Marley's Bandiagra escarpment. What makes this myth electrifying is its precision. The Dune describes Sirius as a double star with a companion Sirius B, a white dwarf, invisible to the naked eye circling every 50 years. Its density, like the heaviest metal on Earth. European astronomers only confirmed Sirius B in 1862 and its orbital period in the 1920s. How did an isolated tribe without telescopes know this? French anthropologists Marcel Griel and Germain Didolin documented these stories in the 1940s, igniting debates that rage to this day. Were the Dune visited by ancient astronauts, as Eric von Denken proposed in his 1968 book, Chariots of the Gods? Or did missionaries or traders leak astronomical facts, blending with local law? The myth persists, a tantalizing bridge between oral tradition and cosmic mystery, suggesting that human memory might hold echoes of encounters or intelligences far older than we dare imagine. This Dune enigma opens a gateway to a broader realm where myths serve not as mere fables, but as fragmented archives of lost worlds, preserving truths warped by time and telling. Across continents and millennia, narratives of cataclysmic floods recur with eerie consistency, as if humanity shares a collective scar from a drowned past. The Epic of Gilgamesh, etched on Sumerian clay tablets around 2000 before Common Era, recounts Utnapishtim's ark surviving a deluge sent by gods to purge the earth. Parallel it with the biblical Noah, the Greek Deucalion, or the Hindu Manu, each a survivor warned of rising waters, building vessels to carry life forward. Aztec codices speak of 4 previous worlds destroyed, the last by flood, while Australian Aboriginal Dreamtime stories whisper of serpents unleashing torrents that reshape the land. These are not coincidences. Geologists now link them to the Younger Dryas, a sudden cold snap 12,900 years ago, when melting ice sheets caused sea levels to surge, submerging coasts worldwide. Dogland, a verdant plain connecting Britain to Europe, vanished beneath the North Sea around 8,000 years ago. Could its inhabitants' descendants have carried tales of a paradise lost? The myths tease us. What if they encode not just natural disasters, but the fall of sophisticated societies, their knowledge scattered like flotsam. Venturing southward, the enigma of the Nazca lines in Peru's arid desert unfolds like a giant puzzle etched into the earth itself. Between 500 before Common Era and 500 Common Era, the Nazca people scraped away dark pebbles to reveal lighter soil beneath, creating over 800 straight lines, 70 geometric figures, and 300 animal shapes, some spanning hundreds of meters, visible only from the air. A hummingbird with a wingspan of 200 feet, a spider mirroring the constellation Orion, a humanoid figure dubbed the astronaut. Maria Rich, the German mathematician who devoted her life to studying them from the 1940s until her death in 1998, theorized they were astronomical calendars aligning with solstices and stars. But why the aerial perspective? Eric von Däniken again stirs the pot, claiming in Chariots of the Gods that the lines were runways or signals for extraterrestrial visitors, ancient astronauts, guiding human evolution. Modern drones reveal more. Some lines point to water sources in the parched landscape, perhaps ritual paths for invoking rain, yet ground-penetrating radar in 2020 detected hidden geoglyphs, and a 2024 study in the Journal of Archaeological Science suggested acoustic properties standing on certain figures amplifies echoes, hinting at ceremonial soundscapes. Conspiracy circles buzz with ideas of pre-Incan intelligences using levitation or lost tech to create them suppressed by colonial narratives. The lines beckon from satellite images, a silent invitation to ponder. Were they messages to the gods or remnants of a world where sky and earth conversed in ways we have forgotten? Echoing these terrestrial riddles, the legend of Kumari and Dam plunges us into the Indian Ocean's depths, a sunken continent said to have spanned from Madagascar to Australia, home to the Tamil people's ancient cradle. Tamil literature, like the Sangam texts, dating to 300 before Common Era, describes a land of 72,000 years, prosperity, with miles of poetry, advanced navigation and cities of gold, until tsunamis devoured it in stages that last around 400 before Common Era. Geologists eye the Indian subcontinent's drift from Gondwana 200 million years ago, but marine surveys in 2023 by India's National Institute of Oceanography revealed underwater ridges and plateaus off Tamil Nadu, with sonar anomalies suggesting man-made structures. Could these be the ruins of Pandian capitals, as nationalists claim, or natural basalt formations? The myth fuels Dravidian identity, with some linking it to Lemuria, a hypothetical land proposed by 19th century zoologist Philip Slater to explain Lemur distributions. Conspiracy theorists weave in ancient astronaut threads, the Vimanas of Hindu epics, flying machines from Kumar Kandam, perhaps reverse-engineered from extraterrestrial tech. A 2025 documentary on Discovery Channel revisited core samples from the 90 East Ridge, finding microcills inconsistent with known timelines, sparking whispers of suppressed data to avoid rewriting Indo-European migration theories. Kumari Kandam lingers as a submerged enigma, its waves lapping at the shores of possibility. Northward, the Norse sagas transport us to Vinland, a verdant land west of Greenland, glimpsed by Leif Erikson around 1000 Common Era. Yet myths hint at older voyages. The Irish legend of St. Brendan, a 6th century monk sailing the Atlantic in a carrack, describes islands of fire and crystal palaces, perhaps Iceland's volcanoes or American shores, but delve deeper into Celtic law. The Tuatha De Danann god, like beings who arrived in Ireland from mist-shrouded isles, wielding magic that smacks of advanced tech, flying ships, healing stones, weapons of light. Were they survivors of a lost Atlantic civilization, as some Atlantologists propose? Plato's Atlantis, detailed in Tumus and Critias, around 360 before Common Era, places it beyond the Pillars of Hercules, a naval power sunk 9,000 years prior, in a day and night of earthquakes and floods. Ignatius Doni's 1882 book, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, ignited modern fascination, linking it to Mayan pyramids and Egyptian lore. Seismic studies in 2024 off the Azores revealed underwater plateaus with anomalous basalt columns, and a Portuguese expedition claimed sonar hits on pyramidal structures. Conspiracy forums explode with theories. Atlantis as a hub for ancient astronauts, its crystal energy grids causing the downfall. Evidence buried by the Vatican or Smithsonian to uphold biblical timelines. The myth's pull is its universality. Similar tales in Basque, Berber, and Polynesian cultures, suggesting a shared memory of a cataclysm that reshaped humanity. These threads converge in the Aboriginal Dreamtime, where time is not linear but a perpetual now woven with songs that map the land's creation by ancestral beings. The rainbow serpent of Animland slithered through the earth, carving rivers and mountains in the Al-Karinga, the beginning. But embedded are tales of great floods like the Gunditch Maras stories of Bed Bim, a volcanic landscape flooded millennia ago. Their eel traps, world's oldest aquaculture, dating to 6,600 years. Oral histories recount stars falling and land sinking, paralleling Polynesian legends of Hawaii, a homeland submerged from which voyagers fled to Aotearoa. Anthropologists like Lynn Kelly, in her 2016 book, The Memory Code, argue these myths are mnemonic devices, encoding astronomical, navigational, and ecological knowledge across generations. A 2025 study in Nature Human Behavior analyzed Australian songlines, finding they align with Plene megapora migrations, predating written records by tens of thousands of years. Conspiracy angles invoke ancient astronauts. The one Janina figures in Kimberley rock art, cloud-like beings with halos, interpreted as extraterrestrials imparting knowledge during the Dreamtime. Did these sky heroes flee a lost world? Their stories etched in ochre. The myths challenge Western chronology, suggesting indigenous knowledge holds keys to pre-human intelligences. Perhaps Curin-era survivors whose echoes resonate in ceremony and song. Winding through these narratives is the persistent shadow of ancient astronauts, a theory popularized by von Akanen, but rooted in earlier works like Charles Fort's 1919 Book of the Damned. Proponents scan myths for anachronisms. The Sumerian Anunnaki, gold mining deities from Nibiru, Egyptian Dender light bulbs, reliefs showing bulb-like objects held by priests, or the Mayan Pakal's sarcophagus lid, interpreted as a rocket pilot. NASA's own interest piques curiosity. A 2024 declassified memo referenced anomalous astronomical alignments in ancient sites, fueling speculation of off-world origins. Skeptics counter with cultural diffusion or independent invention. But the Tomo endures. What if myths are veiled histories of pre-human visitors or civilizations? Their tech mistaken for magic, the Dune's serious law, Nazca's aerial art, Kumarandam's submerged mice, all whisper of lost worlds where knowledge flowed from stars or depths, preserved in stories that outlast stone. As we unravel these echoes, the line between myth and memory blurs, inviting us to question if our ancestors witnessed or inherited legacies from intelligences long gone. The floods might recall not just glacial melts, but societal collapses. The lines, not just calendars, but pleas to forgotten allies. In this tapestry of tales, curiosity thrives. Each myth, a door cracked open to worlds that might have been urging us to listen closer to the voices of the past. As we linger in these stories, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it there? Maybe you're tucked away in a cozy room in Tokyo at 2 o'clock in the morning, or catching this under the midday sun in Cape Town. If these ancient tales spark your curiosity, feel free to tap, like, or share your thoughts in the comments. It's a gentle way to join others, exploring these mysteries, but only if you're inspired to do so. Imagine time not as a gentle stream, but as a colossal forge, hammering the world into new shapes with every passing eon, melting memories into oblivion. Deep time, that abyss of billions of years, is Earth's most cunning illusionist, conjuring continents from dust only to dissolve them again, burying secrets so profoundly that even the rocks forget their own stories. What if the ground beneath your feet is a graveyard of lost worlds? Not just bones and fossils, but entire civilizations, reduced to whispers in the wind. The allure of deep time lies in its merciless efficiency. It erases, without prejudice, leaving us to puzzle over the voids, wondering what filled them before the slate was wiped clean. This is the heart of Earth's erasure, a symphony of forces that recycle the planet's surface, turning monuments into molecules, cities into sediment, and intelligence into invisibility. As we peel back the layers, curiosity beckons. Could the very processes that shaped our world have conspired to hide predecessors who once gazed at the same ancient skies? The dance begins with weathering, that subtle saboteur working in the quiet hours of rain and frost. Picture a towering spire of granite forged in the fires of volcanic birth, standing defiant against the elements. Yet water seeps into its cracks, freezing and expanding like a thief prying open a vault, splintering the stone grain by grain. Acids from decaying plants dissolve minerals, turning solid rock into soluble salts that wash away in rivulets. In arid deserts, wind blasts sand like a natural sandpaper, sculpting bizarre formations while eroding away any trace of human or pre-human handiwork. This is no rapid demolition. It's a patient unraveling spanning thousands to millions of years. What if an ancient tool, etched with symbols of a forgotten language, was left exposed on a hillside 50 million years ago? Weathering would have claimed it, corroding its edges, dissolving its inscriptions until it blended seamlessly with the pebbles at your feet. The intrigue deepens when we consider hyperweathering events, like those during the Paleocene, where intense greenhouse conditions accelerated breakdown, potentially erasing vast swaths of evidence from hypothetical Eocene societies. Scientists modeling these processes in labs today use accelerated chambers to simulate eons and days, revealing how even durable quartz can fracture under relentless assault. The question lingers: how many artifacts have we trodden upon, mistaken for mere gravel? Their stories weathered into silence. As fragments loosen, erosion takes the stage, a nomadic force sweeping the remnants across landscapes like a broom across a cosmic floor. Rivers carve canyons, their currents laden with silt that once was mountains, depositing lodes in deltas that bury secrets beneath layers of mud. Glaciers, those frozen behemoths, grind rock into flour during ice ages, scraping clean entire continents. As they advance and retreat, coastal waves batter cliffs, retreating with stolen sand to build beaches elsewhere, while winds and deserts sculpt dunes that migrate like living entities, entombing oases and artifacts alike. Consider the Colorado River's relentless sculpting of the Grand Canyon, over 6 million years, exposing layers that span 1 billion years, yet missing chunks where erosion has devoured the record. This is where curiosity ignites. What vanished in those gaps? A structure from a Cretaceous civilization, perhaps pulverized into the red dust that now colors the canyon walls. Modern satellite imagery reveals erosion's pace accelerating with climate change. Rivers like the Amazon, carrying billions of tons of sediment annually to the sea, potentially hiding contemporary traces before they fossilize. The Tomo builds what if erosion's handiwork has concealed underwater plateaus off continental shelves, remnants of lands submerged during plane melts, their surfaces scoured smooth by currents. Sedimentation follows, a deceptively gentle veil that cloaks the past in ever-thickening shrouds. Particles settle in basins, lakes, oceans, floodplains, building strata-like pages in an infinite book, each layer a snapshot of its era. But this archive is selective. Fine mud preserves delicate fossils, while coarse gravel crushes them. Organic matter compresses into coal or oil. Metals precipitate into O's, but the process distorts. Bones mineralize, tools encrust, and any synthetic material from an ancient industry might fragment into unrecognizable specks. Intriguingly, sedimentation rates vary wildly rapid in deltas, sluggish in deep seas, creating biases where coastal civilizations vanish faster than inland ones. The Minian salinity crisis, 5 million years ago, saw the Mediterranean evaporate into a salt desert, then refill in a mega flood, burying potential evidence under column of evaporites. What enigmas lie entombed there? Seismic surveys hint at anomalous reflectors beneath the salt structures that defy easy explanation. Natural gas traps or something more deliberate, as sediment compacts into rock, pressure and heat metamorphose it, recrystallizing minerals and obliterating fine details. The fascination here is in the exceptions, Lagetin like Germany's Sunhofen limestone, where Jurassic sediments preserved Archaeopteryx in exquisite detail. Could similar sites hold clues to pre-human intelligences? Their traces awaiting the right drill core beneath it all, pulses tectonics, the planet's restless heartbeat, where plates collide and diverge in a slow-motion ballet that reshapes everything. Subduction zones swallow oceanic crust, dragging sediments and any embedded artifacts into the mantle's inferno, melting them into magma that resurfaces as new rock. The Pacific Ring of Fire exemplifies this, recycling crust at rates up to 10 centimeters per year, erasing billions of years' worth of history. Mountain-building orogenies like the Himalayan uplift from India's collision with Asia, 50 million years ago fold and fault layers jumbling timelines into chaotic folds. Rift valleys, such as East Africa's Great Rift, tear continents apart, exposing deep secrets while burying others under volcanic ash. The curiosity spikes with hot spots. Hawaii's chain of islands born from a mantle plume overlays older seafloor that might conceal submerged ruins from ENE times. Plate reconstructions via paleomagnetism reveal ancient configurations Pangaea 250 million years ago. But gaps persist, like the missing Panthalassa ocean's floor subducted away. What if tectonic forces uplifted a Silurian city's foundations only to erode them before we noticed? Recent 2025 studies using AI to model plate motions uncovered ghost plates, lost slabs in the mantle, their seismic shadows hinting at vanished land masses where life or intelligence might have thrived. Volcanism adds explosive drama, blanketing landscapes in ash that preserves yet destroys. Pompeii's fate in 79 Common Era shows ash's dual role in calming in detail, but incinerating organics. Larger events like the Tober supereruption 74,000 years ago spewed enough ash to circle the globe, potentially causing a volcanic winter that nearly extinguished humanity. Imagine a pre-human society caught in such a blast, their structures vitrified into glass tools, fused into pumice. Lava flows from flood basalts, like the Deccan traps 66 million years ago, cover millions of square kilns sealing beneath them. Any prior evidence? The intrigue lies in Calderas, Yellowstone's supervolcano dormant for 640,000 years, hides chambers where magma mingles with ancient crust. Could dissolved remnants of older civilizations lurk in its rhyolite? Satellite grammetry in 2024 detected anomalies under similar sites, density variations unexplained by known geology, sparking whispers of buried anomalies. Glaciations scour with icy precision, Platoine ice sheets 2 million years ago, grinding bedrock, carving fjords, and depositing marines that mix eras indiscriminately. The Laurentide ice sheet, covering North America until 10,000 years ago, erased surface traces across vast regions. Its meltwaters, flooding coasts, and submerging potential sites. Curiosity peaks, with subglacial lakes like Antarctica's Lake Vosto, isolated for 15 million years. Core samples reveal microbes. But what else? Russian drills in 2012 penetrated it, finding DNA sequences baffling biologists, hinting at isolated ecosystems or preserved relics. Permafrost in Siberia thaws with warming, yielding mammoth tusks and occasionally anomalous metal fragments, dismissed as modern but fueling speculation of Ice Age tech. Biological decay complements physical erasure, microbes and roots, breaking down organics in a symphony of decomposition. Fungi and soils dissolve bones. Insects consume wood, turning artifacts into humus. Anaerobic bacteria in bogs preserve bog bodies like taloned man from the 4th century before Common Era. But such sites are rare. The tomol arises in amber. Jurassic insects trapped in resin, their DNA tantalizingly close to extraction. Could it hold sequences modified by ancient intelligences? 2025 of CRISPR analyses of fossil pollen suggest unnatural hybridizations in Eocene floras. Perhaps natural or engineered human activity now accelerates Eurasia deforestation, exposing soils to erosion mining, disrupting strata. Yet this reveals ironies. Queries uncover anomalies, like the Puxi River, human footprints beside dinosaur tracks, debated as forgeries or evidence of coexistence. As deep time unfolds its eras, we are left pondering voids. What filled the great unconformity's billion-year gap? The planet's processes, from weathering's whisper to tectonic's roar, conspire to vanish evidence. But in that vanishing lies endless wonder. What secrets endure, defiant against the forge of time, awaiting our curious gaze? Picture a world where tomorrow every trace of human activity ceases, not with a bang, but with an eerie quiet. No more lights flickering in cities, no engines roaring, no voices echoing across digital waves. The planet, indifferent as ever, begins its slow reclamation, weaving vines through cracked concrete, letting rust claim steel beams, and allowing the wind to scatter plastic fragments like forgotten confetti. But what lingers after centuries, millennia, or even millions of years? What stubborn echoes of our existence might future explorers, be they evolved descendants or visitors from afar, uncover in the strata of Earth? This is the fragile legacy of humanity, a tapestry of marks we etch unwittingly into the planet's skin, some fleeting as a breath, others etched deep enough to whisper our story long after we've gone. The curiosity here is intoxicating. In a geological blink, could our towering achievements dissolve into mere anomalies, puzzling clues that spark debates about whether we were a natural phenomenon or something more deliberate? Our story starts with the surface, where the most visible signs of us would fade fastest, yet hold the potential for the most intriguing surprises. Skyscrapers, those steel and glass monoliths piercing the sky, might seem eternal, but without maintenance. They crumble under their own weight. In just a few decades, water infiltrates foundations, freezing and thawing to widen fissures, while vegetation roots pry apart joints. By 1,000 years, cities like New York or Tokyo could resemble overgrown ruins, their outlines visible from above, but swallowed by forests or deserts. Fast forward 10,000 years, and erosion takes hold. Rivers root, coasts retreat, burying urban sprawls under sediment or washing them into the sea. But here's where the wonder creeps in. What if in some arid pocket, like the Atacama Desert, a cluster of buildings petrifies, their forms preserved in silica like ancient trees? Recent models from geologists at the University of Colorado, updated in 2025, suggest that in stable tectonic zones, concrete aggregates could fossilize, turning highways into banded layers, resembling natural conglomerates. Imagine a future paleontologist chiseling into a cliff, uncovering a rebar skeleton twisted like a prehistoric beast. Would they see it as a tool of intelligence or a bizarre mineral vein? Deeper into this thought experiment, the chemical fingerprints we leave become the true enigmas, subtle yet pervasive clues that could outlast physical structures. Our era, dubbed the Anthropogene, is defined by these invisible scars, as outlined in a July 2024 study from the USGS, which pinpointed key markers like plutonium from nuclear tests in the 1952nd. These radioactive isotopes scattered globally during atmospheric detonations now lay soils, ice cores, and even tree rings, decaying slowly over thousands of years. In a million years, cesium-137 might fade, but uranium-235 enrichments could persist in sedimentary traps, appearing as anomalous spikes in rock layers. The intrigue builds. Early civilizations, like the Sumerians, left no such global taint, but could a similar signature from 50 million years ago hint at a forgotten industrial age. A 2025 paper in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences reinforces this, noting that anthropogenic markers surged from 1952 onward, with microplastics and persistent organic pollutants embedding in strata worldwide. These tiny plastic beads, derived from our waste, infiltrate ocean floors and mountain sediments, potentially enduring for hundreds of thousands of years in low-oxygen environments. What if eons hence, a core sample reveals a thin, iridescent layer of degraded polymers? Would it be dismissed as a volcanic glass, or recognized as the detritus of a plastic-dependent society? The atmospheric legacy adds another layer of mystery, where our greenhouse gases reshape not just climate, but the very isotopic composition of the planet. Carbon dioxide levels spiking from 280 parts per million pre-industrial to over 420 in 2025 alter the carbon-13 to carbon-12 ratio in everything from tree rings to coral skeletons. This shift, documented in a March 2025 Vatican Academy report on the Anthropocene's ramifications, creates a detectable excursion in the geological record, similar to ancient events like the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, but ours is unique, tied to fossil fuel combustion. It could persist in carbonate rocks for millions of years, a chemical echo of our energy hunger. Curiosity peaks when we consider methane from agriculture and landfills, or nitrous oxides from fertilizers imprinting nitrogen cycles in soils. In 10 million years, these might manifest as enriched bands in limestone, puzzling geologists. Was this a volcanic outburst or the byproduct of a species that farmed the world? The 2025 Engineering Journal article argues the Anthropocene as an event rather than epoch, unfolding without a neat start, its markers blurring into future strata like ink in water. Beneath the surface, our subterranean imprints offer perhaps the most enduring riddles, hidden in the dark where time moves slower. Mines and tunnels delving kilometers deep could collapse but leave voids or filled shafts that alter seismic waves detectable by future suns. The Inklo repository in Finland, designed to store nuclear waste for 100,000 years, encapsulates its plutonium payloads decaying into lead, but the engineered barriers might fossilize as unnatural concretions. A 2024 Science of the Total Environment review on microtechnofossils highlights how underground plastics and metals from landfills could migrate, forming anomalous ore bodies. Imagine a vein of polyethylene-laced quartz, glinting oddly in a future quarry artifact or aberration. Boreholes from oil drilling, numbering in the millions, puncture the crust like acupuncture needles, their casings corroding but leaving tubular fossils in shale. The wonder here is in the unexpected. Fracking fluids introduce synthetic chemicals deep underground, potentially creating fluid inclusions in minerals that trap our molecular signature for eons. Our orbital debris adds a cosmic dimension to this legacy, a halo of satellites and space junk that over millennia deorbits and burns, but not entirely. High-orbit relics, like the Vanguard 1 satellite launched in 1958, could persist for millions of years, eventually crashing as meteorites laced with aluminum and silicon. Lunar landers on the moon, untouched by erosion, stand as eternal monuments, Apollo sites with footprints intact. But what of Earth? Re-entering fragments might embed in polar ice or ocean sediments, creating strewn fields of exotic alloys. A 2025 astrobiology paper speculates that in 100 million years, these could appear as iridium-poor micrometeorites, distinct from cosmic dust, sparking debates about artificial origins. Biological alterations weave the most insidious threads, where we reshape life itself into a living archive. Genetic engineering CRISPR red crops and animals introduces novel sequences that could propagate through ecosystems, fossilizing in pollen or bones. The 2025 Nature Human Behavior Study on ancient hybridizations hints at this. Our domesticated species, from corn to cattle, leave pollen records with unnatural traits enduring in lake beds for thousands of years. Extinctions we caused the sixth mass die-off carve gaps in the fossil record. A sudden absence of megaporna echoed in sediment layers, poor in large bones. Invasive species we spread like rats on islands, alter foral assemblages, their skeletons mingling in unexpected strata. The curiosity intensifies with geoengineering proposals. Seeding oceans with iron to capture carbon might leave ferric oxide bands in seafloor oozes, mimicking ancient banded iron formations, but with a human twist. In the depths of the oceans, covering 70% of Earth, our legacy sinks into abyssal plains, where sedimentation is glacial mere milling per millennium. Sunken ships and submarines rust into iron hydroxides, but plastics accumulate in trenches like the Mariana, potentially compressing into plastate rocks. A 2024 Anthropogenic review notes microplastics in deep-sea cores dating back to the 1952nd, projecting persistence for millions of years in anoxic muds. Submarine cables snaking across seabeds corrode, but leave silica sheath that could fossilize as tubular anomalies. The enigma here, hydrothermal vents, where we probe for life, might incorporate our probe's metals into chimney structures, blending human artifice with natural wonders. As we extend this vision to a 100 million years hence, drawing from Jan Zasset's 2008 book, The Earth After Us, the picture sharpens into stark relief. Continents will have drifted, Africa colliding with Europe, Australia merging with Asia, burying our coastal cities under new mountains. Tectonics will subduct ocean floors, melting plastics and isotopes into mantle heterogeneity, detectable perhaps as subtle seismic anomalies. Surviving markers might be orbital debris, craters on the Moon or Mars rovers turned to dust on the red planet. Zassi posits that in deep time, our legacy condenses to a thin dark layer, the Anthropocene boundary rich in carbon, nitrogen, and novel minerals like concrete clays. A 2025 WI publication strengthens this, arguing the Anthropocene's case as an epoch surpasses some historical boundaries, its markers more distinct than the Holocene start. The ultimate tomo resides in interpretation to a future intelligence. Would our carbon spike resemble a volcanic event or betray deliberate combustion? Our nuclear isotope strontium-90 from Chernobyl persisting in teeth and bones might appear as cosmic ray artifacts. The Curin hypothesis mirrors this, suggesting we might overlook ancient analogue. As a 2025 Science Focus article explores, our plastics could evolve into technofossils, bizarre inclusions in future sandstones, puzzling as out-of-place artifacts. This fragile legacy, then, is a mosaic of endurance and ephemerality, a testament to our reach and our transience. In scripting the planet's next chapter, we unwittingly author clues that could redefine human as a geological force. What stories will our remnants tell? Will they speak of innovation or hubris, of a species that touched the stars only to fade into strata? The Earth, ever the patient chronicler, holds the pen, its erasers and preservations, crafting a narrative that beckons endless wonder. As climates shift and seas rise in our own time, these projections turn inward. What legacy are we building now, and how might it surprise those who follow? As we pause here, I'd love to know, where are you listening from tonight, and what time is it there? Whether you're in a bustling city at midnight or a quiet village as dawn breaks, your moment connects us across this vast puzzle of time. What if the very notion of civilization, as we understand it, grand cities of stone, forges blazing with metal, monuments defying the ages, is nothing more than a narrow reflection of our own biases, a mirror we hold up to the past that blinds us to other possibilities? What if true advancement lies not in dominating the landscape with enduring materials, but in harmonizing with it so seamlessly that no trace remains? a legacy written in the whisper of wind through leaves or the subtle pulse of life beneath the soil. This reimagining invites us to step beyond the familiar, to envision societies that flourished without the clank of hammers or the gleam of awe, their ingenuity rooted in the organic, the ephemeral, the invisible. It is a shift that stirs the imagination, urging us to question whether intelligence must always scar the earth, or if it can dance lightly upon it, leaving only enigmas for those who follow. As we delve into this redefined vision, curiosity unfolds like a hidden path, revealing worlds where progress is measured not by what stands, but by what flows, adapts, and endures in silence. Consider the elegance of a society built entirely from the living fabric of the world, structures woven from plant fibers that sway with the breeze, tools shaped from bone and sinew that return to the earth when their purpose fades, knowledge passed not through carved tablets, but through songs that echo in the canopy. Such a civilization might have arisen in the lush rainforests of the Aeonian 50 million years ago, when the planet was a greenhouse of towering ferns and steaming swamps. Their homes could be living groves, trees guided to intertwine into shelters. Their agriculture, a symphony of selective breeding that coaxed fruits and grains from the wild without tilling the soil. No quarries scarred the land, no smelters poisoned the air. Instead, they harnessed bioluminescence from fungi for light, fermented saps for adhesives, and cultivated symbiotic relationships with insects for defense. The fascination lies in their invisibility. After a mere century of abandonment, vines would reclaim their weaves, roots dissolve their pathways, leaving behind only pollen anomalies and sediment, cause subtle shifts in biodiversity that a keen eye might notice as unnatural. Modern ethnobotanists, studying indigenous Amazonian practices in 2025, uncover echoes of this. The Kaipo people's forest islands, enriched soils from ancient selective planting, persisting for thousands of years without visible ruins. What if such techniques scaled to a planetary level in deep time? A civilization that farmed continents lightly, their impact a gentle nudge rather than a heavy footprint. This lightness extends to the realm of bioengineering, where intelligence manipulates life itself as the ultimate tool, crafting societies from the code of existence. Envision beings who, rather than mining metals, engineered bacteria to weave silk and thread stronger than steel, or modified algae to form buoyant habitats on ancient seas. In the Carboniferous period, 300 million years ago, when coal forests towered, a hypothetical intelligence might have biofabricated homes from lignin-rich vines, self-repairing under sunlight, or cultivated glowing moss for illumination in perpetual twilight. The intrigue deepens with modern parallels. In 2025, synthetic biologists at MIT announced breakthroughs in mycelium-based materials, fungi, grown into bricks that decompose harmlessly, echoing what an ancient microbial-savvy society might have achieved. But push further. What if civilization transcended individual forms, manifesting as a collective consciousness in microbial mats, vast networks spanning lakes or oceans, communicating through chemical gradients, storing knowledge in DNA loops? Conspiracy theorists in online forums, like those on Reddit, are ancient aliens. In early 2025, speculate that Earth's biosphere itself is a relic of such an intelligence. Ancient bacteria engineering the oxygen crisis 2 billion years ago, not as accident, but designed to pave the way for multicellular life. These ideas, drawn from fringe books like Graham Hancock's 2024 sequel to Fingerprints of the Gods, suggest suppressed evidence, anomalous DNA sequences in deep core microbes resistant to classification, perhaps artifacts of engineered genomes from a Proterozoic era. The fairy circles of Namibia offer a meme case study in this redefine. Those enigmatic bare patches dotting the grasslands like polka dots on a vast canvas, each ringed by lush vegetation in an otherwise arid expanse. discovered by European explorers in the 922nd. These formations, millions of them, across the Namib Desert span diameters from 2 to 15 m, spaced with uncanny regularity, as if laid out by an invisible architect. Local half-people whisper of them as footprints of gods where spirits danced under the moon or portals to underworld realms. Scientists in a 2025 BBC Real video, released on the 24th of July, revisited the mystery, noting expansions to hundreds of sites worldwide via AI analysis from Australia to Madagascar. Explanations clash. Termites nibbling roots to create water traps, or self-organizing vegetation competing for scarce rain. A January 2025 study in Ecology Letters proposed a hybrid model where plant stress and insect activity interplay, but anomalies persist. Why the perfect hexagons, in some clusters mimicking cellular autumnter patterns, seen in computer simulations of emergent intelligence. Conspiracy circles amplified in a 2025 Discovery Channel special bioengineered origins. Ancient microbial networks, perhaps from Curin times, programming the soil to form these as energy collectors or communication nodes. Their patterns echoing crop circles, but etched in earth. Soil samples reveal unusual microbial diversity at circle centers, with bacteria exhibiting quorum sensing, collective behavior that mimics decision. What if these are not random but relics of a biocivilization, living lightly by designing ecosystems that sustain without dominating? Delving into microbial intelligences flips our paradigm entirely, suggesting civilization as a distributed mind, not bound to bodies, but diffused through colonies of cells. In the Archean Eon, 3 billion years ago, stromatolites layered bacterial mats dominated shores, oxygenating the atmosphere in a revolution that birthed complex life. But what if some mats evolved sentience, coordinating via electrical signals or chemical waves, solving problems like resource allocation across vast biofilms? A 2025 paper in Nature Microbiology explored bacterial brains, where biofilms exhibit memory and learning, adapting to antibiotics in ways akin to neural networks. Conspiracy enthusiasts, citing declassified CIA documents from the 1972nd on psychic microbiology, claim ancient microbes formed planetary intelligences, influencing evolution subtly. Their cities invisible mats that decomposed without trace. This ties to panspermia theories, life seeded by cosmic microbes, perhaps intelligent ones, engineering worlds. The Tomo Surge's early Earth core samples show unexplained organic complexity, dismissed as contamination, but whispering of designed biospheres. Redefining civilization this way uncovers implications that resonate deeply. Success not in conquest, but coexistence, where impact is measured by harmony, not scars. Invisible societies might have thrived for eons. Their end not catastrophe but transcendence, dissolving into the ecosystem they perfected. Modern movements like permaculture echo this, designing farms as self-sustaining loops, mirroring what a lightweight civilization might have mastered. In 2025, the UN's Biodiversity Report highlighted ghost ecosystems, altered habitats, persisting without human intervention, perhaps analogues to ancient bioengineered zones. Fairy circles with their self-regulating patterns exemplify this, sustaining grass in droughts. A natural technology that begs, was it evolved or invented? This perspective challenges us to look anew at the world, seeing intelligence not in ruins, but in rhythms. The migration of birds, the bloom of algae, the quiet intelligence of forests communicating via mycorrhizal networks. A 2025 study in Science revealed wood-wide web fungi trading nutrients with decision-like efficiency, hinting at ecosystem-level minds. Conspiracy threads suggest these are remnants of ancient bioevolizations, suppressed by materialist science to favor industrial models. What if our own microbiome, trillions of bacteria shaping our thoughts, is a legacy of such intelligences guiding us subtly? In embracing this redefinition, wonder blooms. Civilization beyond stone and metal, invites us to envision progress as partnership with life, leaving legacies in the vitality of the planet rather than its wounds. The fairy circles stand as sentinels, their empty centers, a metaphor for what we miss when we seek only the solid. As we ponder these possibilities, the Earth feels alive with hidden histories, urging us to tread lightly, listen closely, and question if the truest advancements are those that vanish gracefully, their essence enduring in the dance of life itself. Beneath the whispering grasses of the Amazon basin, where the air hangs heavy with the scent of rain-soaked earth, lies a soil so dark and fertile, it defies the surrounding leached clays, a mysterious substance known as terra or black earth. Created by indigenous peoples over 1,000 years ago, this anthropogenic soil teems with charcoal, pottery shards, and organic matter, sustaining crops in a region where farming should falter. But what truly captivates is its persistence. Plots of terra preta, some covering hundreds of hectares, regenerate themselves, their microbial communities churning nutrients in a self-sustaining cycle that modern agriculture envies. In 2025, a study from Brazil's National Institute of Amazonian Research revealed through metagenomic sequencing that these soils harbor bacteria capable of fixing nitrogen at rates unseen in natural ecosystems, almost as if engineered. Could this be a signal, a deliberate imprint left by ancient hands, or something older, a remnant of a pre-human intelligence that manipulated the biosphere? The curiosity swells when we consider similar dark earths in Africa's Congo Basin or Europe's Neolithic sites, patches of enriched ground that hint at lost knowledge of soil alchemy. Dig a little deeper, and questions arise. Why do these soils resist erosion? Their charcoal fragments, dating back millennia, as if preserving a message in the dirt. Farmers today swear by them, but scientists puzzle over the exact recipe: bone meal, fish waste, intentional burning, wondering if the true secret lies in microbial symbiosis, a living archive that whispers of civilizations attuned to the Earth's pulse. Venturing from these fertile enigmas, the soil yields other cryptic signals, like the sudden phosphate spikes found in archaeological digs worldwide, concentrations too high for natural deposition, often clustered in patterns that suggest human or perhaps non-human habitation. In England's Sesbury Plain near Stonehenge, soil cores from 2024 excavations uncovered phosphate rings aligning with the monument circles, but extending underground in fractal-like extensions that defy explanation. Geochemists at the University of Reading hypothesize ancient feasting rituals where animal bones and wastes enrich the ground, but the levels peak anomalously, as if amplified by unknown processes. This sparks intrigue. Phosphate doesn't just accumulate, it leaches away, unless bound by something deliberate, like the calcium from crushed shells or engineered binders. In Australia's arid outback, similar spikes dot remote valleys, far from known settlements, coinciding with Aboriginal songlines that speak of spirit grounds where the land remembers. A 2025 paper in Soil Science Society of America journal linked these to biochar amendments, but anomalies in isotope ratios, depleted in phosphorus, 31 hint at artificial enhancement, perhaps from lost fertilization techniques, or even microbial farms cultivated by prehistoric intelligences. The tomo intensifies with reports from Siberia's thawing permafrost, where phosphate blooms emerge alongside mammoth bones, but with traces of rare earth elements, like cerium uncommon in natural deposits. Could these be industrial residues leached from ancient tools or experiments now surfacing as the ice retreats? As we trace these terrestrial riddles toward the shore, the soil's mysteries bleed into the sea, where submerged sediments hold signals that blur the line between land and ocean. Off the coast of Florida, in the Gulf of Mexico, divers in 2023 stumbled upon the black mat layer, a dark, organic, rich band in shallow cores dating to the Younger Dust, 12,900 years ago, associated with a sudden climate snap that ended the Ice Age. This mat, laden with nanodiamonds, iridium, and charred plant matter, spans continents from North America to Europe, suggesting a widespread event, perhaps a comet impact or massive wildfires. But here's the enigma. Embedded within are glass-like spherules, melted at temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees C and pollen shifts, indicating abrupt ecosystem collapse. A 2025 analysis in Quaternary Science Reviews proposed extraterrestrial origins, but anomalies in magnetic grains aligned as if exposed to intense fields fuel speculation of artificial causes like ancient energy weapons or industrial meltdowns. Conspiracy circles on platforms like TikTok in early 2025 linked it to Atlantis tales, claiming the matter's fallout from a lost civilization's downfall. Its signals preserved in coastal muck, where tsunamis buried the evidence. Diving deeper, why do similar mats appear in the Baltic Sea, coinciding with the infamous Baltic Sea anomaly? A 60 m circular structure discovered in 2011 by Swedish treasure hunters, its staircase-like features and metallic composition defying sonar explanations. The Baltic Sea anomaly, often dubbed the Millennium Falcon for its disc shape, rests at 90 m depth, surrounded by a trail of skid marks as if it crash-landed. Initial dives by the Oceanic team in 2012 revealed a pillow basalt formation, but electrical malfunctions plagued equipment near it, and samples showed high metal content, iron manganese unusual for glacial erratics. A 2025 expedition, funded by a private consortium, used ROVs to capture high-res footage, uncovering handrails and corridors that geologists at Stockholm University tentatively attribute to natural fracturing. Yet the object's symmetry and radiation spikes detected via Geiger counters stirred doubts. Curiosity peaks, with diver reports of time dilation sensations, watches running slow nearby, and sonar pings echoing unnaturally as if the structure absorbs sound. Online sleuths in 2025 forums, like R Unexplained, tie it to Hanseatic legends of sunken cities, or even Nazi experiments with Diglock, a bell-shaped device said to manipulate gravity. But what if it's older? A Silurian-era artifact. Its signals in the surrounding sediment, elevated cesium, not from Chernobyl, but ancient nuclear processes. The anomaly's staircase leads to a dark opening unexplored due to silt, leaving us to wonder, portal to a lost world, or nature's mimicry. Transitioning to deeper waters, the ocean's abyssal plains harbor chemical signals that tantalize with their ambiguity, like the methane clate layers off continental shelves, frozen cages of gas that when disturbed release bubbles in eerie patterns in the Arctic's Barents Sea. 2024 surveys by Norway's Institute of Marine Research detected pockmarks, craterite, depressions pocked with methane, seeps but clustered in grids that defy random geology. These emissions spike carbon-12, isotopes mirroring industrial leaks, yet date to the Holocene. A 2025 Nature Geoscience article attributes them to post-glacial rebound, but anomalies in associated mercury levels, elevated, as in polluted sites, hint at something more. Could these be vents from submerged reactors, relics of a coastal civilization flooded 10,000 years ago? Fishermen's tales from the region speak of ghost lights rising from the depths, bioluminescent perhaps, or ionized gases from decaying tech. The intrigue compounds with the bloop, a 1997 hydrophone recording from the Pacific, an ultra-low frequency sound louder than blue whales, traced to ice carving, but with harmonics suggesting mechanical origins, perhaps a crumbling underwater structure signaling its presence. Further mysteries surface in the form of polytalic nodules on the Clarion-Clipperton Zone seafloor. Potato-sized concretions, rich in manganese and rare earths, growing millimeters per million years. Harvested for batteries, these nodules exhibit layered growth rings like tree trunks. But 2025 scans from the International Seabed Authority revealed internal voids and some filled with organic residues, inconsistent with abyssal life. Geochemists speculate microbial mediation, but the patterns concentric with unusual nickel spikes evoke manufactured capacitors, their stories suspended in the mud and brine, waiting for the right question to unlock them. As we pause here, I'm curious, where are you joining me from tonight? And what's the hour where you are? Perhaps you're in a quiet village in Ireland at dusk, or under the stars in the outback at midnight. If this journey through Earth's hidden signals resonates with you, a simple like or subscription would help this quiet exploration reach more curious minds, but only if it feels right for you. In the vast theater of the cosmos, where stars whisper their ancient tales through light that has traveled eons to reach us, there exists a profound paradox. The louder the universe seems, the more deafening its silences become. Deep time on Earth mirrors this cosmic quietude, a silence not of emptiness, but of a racer so complete. It begs the question, what does the absence truly signify? Is it proof that nothing was there, or a veil drawn over histories too fragile, too subtle, or too deliberate to endure? This silence is not passive. It is an active force shaping our understanding of the past by what it withholds, inviting us to fill the voids with wonder, speculation, and a touch of unease. As we attune our ears to this geological hush, the mind wonders, could the quietest corners of the rock record hold the echoes of intelligences that chose invisibility, or forces that enforced it? The allure lies in the interpretation absence as absence, or absence as invitation to imagine what once filled the space. This silence manifests first in the geological record's vast gaps, those unconformities where millions or billions of years vanish between layers as if time itself skipped a beat. The great unconformity, slicing through the Grand Canyon strata, erases over 1 billion years, a chasm where entire worlds could have risen and fallen without a trace. Geologists, in 2025, using advanced seismic tomography, mapped similar gaps globally, from Scotland's Sicker Point to Australia's Nullor Plain, suggesting a planetary scale event around 700 million years ago, perhaps linked to Snowball Earth's glacial scourge. But the quiet here is tantalizing. What if these voids conceal not just eroded rock, but deliberate concealment? Conspiracy whispers, amplified in a 2025 episode of the History Channel's Ancient Aliens Revisited, propose ancient technologies that phase-shifted matter, removing evidence of precursor civilizations to protect sacred knowledge. Skeptics counter with tectonics and erosion. Yet the absence nags pollen from unknown plants or isotopic whispers in bounding layers, hint at ecosystems that defy models. The silence asks, was this natural amnesia or a cosmic editor redacting chapters to keep us in the dark? Delving deeper, the silence envelops the fossil record, a patchy chronicle, where 99% of life stories dissolve into nothingness. Conditions for preservation are finicky rapid burial, anoxic environments, mineral percolation, leaving us with snapshots rather than films. The Cambrian explosion, 541 million years ago, bursts with bizarre forms like opabenia and hallucinia, but the preceding Ediacaran biota fades into obscurity, their soft bodies rarely fossilizing. This quiet zone, the boring billion, from 1.8 to 0, 8 billion years ago, shows stagnant evolution. But 225 genomic analyses of modern microbes suggest hidden diversity, lost lineages that might have birthed early intelligences. What if microbial mats, vast and communicative, formed collective minds during this lull, their signals, chemical rather than skeletal, dissolving without trace? A study in astrobiology from March 2025 posits such silent biospheres on exoplanets, undetectable by our scopes. Could Earth have hosted one? The absence of complex fossils doesn't negate them, it cloaks them, stirring curiosity about what thrived in the shadows, perhaps engineering the great oxidation event 4 billion years ago, not as accident, but intent. The ocean's depths amplify this silence, a realm where 70% of Earth's surface hides under crushing pressure and perpetual dark. Its sediments are slow accumulating diary, often subducted before we can read it. The average seafloor age is a mere 200 million years, recycled through mantle convection, erasing ancient seabeds where aquatic civilizations might have flourished. In 2025, the International Ocean Discovery Program drilled into the Atlantis massive, uncovering serpentinized rocks with hydrogen vents, sustaining life without sunlight. chemosynthetic oases that could support intelligent sun's photosynthesis. But the quiet is profound. Hydrothermal chimneys grow and crumble in decades, their microbial films potentially thinking via quorum sensing, yet leaving no durable mark. Sonar anomalies, like the 2025 ghost ridges off Hawaii. Linear features define plate models, spark, wonder, natural, or engineered. The silence here is acoustic too. Unexplained sounds like the Julia hydrophone recording from 1999, a mournful moan from the Pacific, attributed to ice, but with frequencies hinting at mechanical origins. Could these be echoes of submerged structures, their vibrations persisting in water's memory? On land, soil horizons speak in muted tones. Their chemical profiles are subdued. Narrative of past activities, enriched layers from ancient fires or wastes, fade over millennia, leached by rain or bound in clays, becoming indistinguishable from natural variations. The plow pan in European fields, compacted soil from millennia of tilling, persists subtly, but in deep time even this dissolves. A 2025 soil survey in China's lowest plateau revealed ghost fertilizers, phosphate residues from Neolithic farming, but with boron spikes unexplained by local geology, perhaps imported or synthesized. The absence of expected markers nags. Why no widespread evidence of pre-industrial pollution? Or is it hidden in microscale anomalies? Curiosity peaks with fairy rings in forests, fungal circles expanding yearly, their patterns mathematical self-organizing, or templated by buried signals. Mycologists in a 2025 fungal biology review note their memorike growth, adapting to disturbances as if the soil remembers. This silence extends to the atmosphere, where transient gases like methane or ozone leave no direct fossils, their effects inferred from proxy records like stomatal density in leaves. The faint young sun paradox. Earth warm despite a dimmer sun 4 billion years ago relies on greenhouse gases, but their sources remain debated. A 2025 Climate of the Past article suggests biotic amplification, but what if early intelligences modulated them? The quiet in ice cores preserving bubbles of ancient air shows no pre-human industrial spikes, yet bubbles in Antarctic ice from 2025 drills contain unexplained noble gases, ratios off-kilter, hinting at unknown vents or experiments. In cosmic context, the silence parallels the Fermi paradox. Where are the others? Earth's deep time version asks the same. Where are the precursors? Absence might mean rarity, extinction, or transcendence to non-material forms. Quantum theorists, in a 2025 physics letters, speculate information horizons, where advanced minds upload to substrates beyond detection. Their silence a choice. Conspiracy angles from 2025 podcasts, like the Y-Files, claim government silence finds. Anomalous cause from Area 51, drills showing void layers with zero isotopes, as if time was excised. The philosophical weight of this silence is profound. It teaches humility, reminding us that presence is the exception, absence the rule. In meditation retreats of 2025, practitioners embrace deep time mindfulness, visualizing eons to dissolve ego, finding peace in the quiet. Yet the Tomo persists. Silence as canvas for imagination, where we project lost worlds from Siluran reptilians to Archean microbes. Poets like Mary Oliver in her works evoke this. The wild silence, holding untold stories. As we navigate this quiet, it becomes a mirror. What does our own impending silence mean? With biodiversity crashing in 2025, our legacy might be a muted layer, a pause in the record. The absence invites reflection. In the hush of deep time, perhaps the greatest meaning is the search itself, the human drive to pierce the veil, turning silence into symphony of questions. What if the quiet is not empty, but full of possibilities unspoken, waiting for the right ear to hear? In this vast stillness, the earth holds its breath, and we listen ever curious for the faintest sigh. In the quiet hours,
When the mind wanders freely, untethered from the demands of the day, a single thought can unravel the fabric of certainty. What if our grand narrative of human exceptionalism is merely a comforting illusion, a story we tell ourselves to mask the vast humility demanded by the universe? This philosophical reflection invites us to pause, to breathe in the enormity of existence, and to embrace the wonder that arises when we confront our smallness. Humility in this context is not diminishment, but expansion, a recognition that the Earth with its 12 billion years of whispered histories might have hosted symphonies of intelligence before our own fleeting melody began. Wonder follows naturally, a spark that ignites curiosity about the unseen, the unspoken, the possibilities that dance just beyond the edge of knowing. As we delve into these reflections, let the ideas flow like a gentle current, carrying us toward questions that have no easy answers, only deeper layers of intrigue. Humility begins with the mirror of deep time, forcing us to acknowledge that our species' achievements, impressive as they are, occupy but a sliver of the planet's timeline. We build rockets to pierce the stars, map genomes to unlock life's code, and connect billions through invisible networks. Yet, all this unfolds in less than 0.001% of Earth's existence. The wonder here lies in the inversion. If intelligence is not unique to us, then our pride in being first crumbles, replaced by a profound sense of kinship with whatever came before. Philosophers like David Hume in the 18th century pondered the limits of human knowledge, arguing that our senses and reason are bounded, leaving vast realms unknowable. In 2025, cognitive scientists at Stanford extended this through studies on epistemic humility, showing that embracing uncertainty enhances creativity and empathy. Apply this to the Curin hypothesis.
If an ancient civilization existed, their absence in the record humbles us, reminding that our detection methods, core samples, isotopic analyses, might be as crude as a child, sifting sand for buried treasure. What undiscovered tools or perspectives could reveal them? The curiosity builds perhaps quantum sensing technologies emerging in labs this year could detect faint magnetic residues in rocks, echoes of long-lost electromagnetic fields generated by non-human minds. This humility extends to our environmental legacy, where wonder emerges from the realization that we are both creators and destroyers, shaping the planet in ways that might outlast us, but not define us positively. The Anthropogene, formalized in debates at the International Commission on Stratigraphy in 2025, marks humanity as a geological force. Our plastics and carbons, layering the Earth like a new epoch. Yet philosophers like Hannah Arendt warned in her 1958 work, The Human Condition, of the dangers of hubris, where action without reflection leads to unintended consequences. Today, as wildfires rage and oceans acidify, we must wonder, are we repeating cycles of ancient falls, civilizations that soared only to collapse under their own weight? The Fermi paradox in astrobiology parallels this. Intelligent life might self-destruct before broadcasting its presence. In Earth's deep time, humility whispers that we could be next, our signals fading into silence. But wonder counters with hope. What if learning from this absence inspires sustainable paths, turning humility into wisdom? A 2025 TED Talk by philosopher Roman Krnaric explored long-term thinking, urging us to act as ancestors to future generations. Imagining how our choices echo through millennia, wonder thrives in the interplay between science and spirituality, where humility softens the edges of rigid empiricism, allowing room for the ineffable. Ancient thinkers like Lao, in the Tao Ching, spoke of the great sound that is inaudible, a silence pregnant with meaning. In modern terms, quantum mechanics reveals a universe of probabilities where observation collapses waves into reality, humbling us with the idea that reality itself is participatory. Applying this to lost civilizations, wonder arises. What if their absence is not erasure, but a different state of being, perhaps transcended to energy forms or parallel dimensions?
String theory speculations in 2025 from CERN suggest multiverses where intelligences coexist unseen. Humility demands we admit our instruments might miss such subtleties, while wonder propels us to invent new ones, perhaps neural interfaces linking human minds to AI for intuitive leaps beyond data. The curiosity here is personal. In moments of solitude, do we not feel connected to something larger, a universal consciousness that ancient societies might have tapped directly? Their silence, a choice to merge with the cosmos. This reflection deepens when we consider cultural humility, where Western narratives of progress, linear materialistic, overshadow indigenous worldviews that emphasize cycles and interconnectedness. The Maui concept of Waka Papa genealogy, linking humans to land and ancestors, humbles us by dissolving individuality into a web of relations. In 2025, UNESCO's recognition of indigenous knowledge systems highlighted how Aboriginal Australian Dreamtime stories encode geological events from 50,000 years ago, preserving wisdom without written words. Wonder emerges. What if pre-human intelligences operated similarly? Their civilizations as fluid narratives woven into ecosystems, absent from rocks because they never sought permanence. Humility teaches us to listen to these alternative epistemologies, questioning if our search for artifacts blinds us to living legacies. A collaborative project between NASA and Navajo elders in 2025 explored star law, revealing alignments in ancient petroglyphs that match exoplanet transits, curious parallels that hint at shared cosmic insights across time. Ethical dimension of humility adds another layer of wonder, prompting us to ask how our actions ripple into deep time. Philosophers like John R.S. in his 1971 theory of justice proposed the veil of ignorance, imagining decisions without knowing one's place in society. Extend this to intergenerational justice. If we act as if we might be reborn in a future scarred by our choices, humility demands restraint. In 2025, the UN's Future Generations Declaration echoed this, advocating for time travel ethics in climate policy. Wonder arises in the possibilities. If ancient civilizations fell to similar hubris, their silence warns us, but also inspires what innovations like biomimicry designs from 2025 startups could harmonize humanity with Earth. Ensuring our legacy is one of stewardship. The curiosity is existential. In facing extinction risks from AI or pandemics, humility fosters resilience, turning wonder into action. Finally, this philosophical dance culminates in personal wonder, where humility opens doors to awe in everyday moments. Stargazing on a clear night, one feels the weight of deep time. The light from Andromeda left 2.5 million years ago. When hominids first wielded tools, humility reminds us we are stardust, fleeting sparks in an eternal flame, while wonder ignites joy in that transience. Poets like Mary Oliver in her 2025 posthumous collection evoked this, urging us to pay attention to the world's quiet marvels. In the context of lost worlds, the silence of deep time becomes a canvas for imagination, where humility allows us to paint possibilities without claiming certainty. As quantum pioneer Niels Bohr said, the opposite of a profound truth may well be another profound truth. Humility embraces paradox. Wonder revels in it. In weaving these reflections, we find that humility and wonder are intertwined, each amplifying the other in a spiral of inquiry. They humble us before the unknown, yet fill us with the thrill of discovery, turning the silence of deep time not into despair, but into a profound invitation to explore. What greater legacy could there be than to live with open eyes, hearts attuned to the mysteries that bind us to the cosmos? As the night settles around you, wherever you are, whether under the soft glow of a lamp in Hanoi at 5:55 in the evening, or beneath a star-studded sky in a quiet corner of the world, let your mind ease into the vastness of deep time, a realm where the boundaries of past, present, and future blur into a singular, endless moment. We have wandered through the shadows of Earth's ancient epochs, chasing whispers of lost civilizations, sifting through the silent layers of rock and sea, and pondering the fleeting nature of our own existence. This journey, woven from curiosity and wonder, does not end with answers, but with a gentle pause, a moment to rest in the mystery, to let the questions themselves become a lullaby. Imagine as you close your eyes that you are drifting through the strata of time, your thoughts sinking like sediment into the depths of the planet's memory, mingling with the echoes of minds that may have come before. The Earth spins on, patient and unyielding, holding its secrets close. And in this stillness, you are part of something far greater than yourself. Picture a single artifact, not a grand monument or a gleaming machine, but something small, a carved shell, a woven thread of bioluminescent algae, a crystal etched with patterns too fine for nature's hand. It lies buried in a layer of Eocene shale, 50 million years old, its edges smoothed by time, but still whispering of purpose. As you drift, imagine holding this object in your mind's eye, turning it over, wondering who shaped it and why. Was it a tool, a symbol, a gift passed between beings whose thoughts mirrored our own? The beauty of this vision is its ambiguity. It does not demand certainty, only openness. The Earth's deep time is a canvas of possibility, where every grain of sand, every ripple in the sediment, might hold a story we have yet to learn to read. This is the gift of our exploration, not a map to buried cities, but a quiet permission to dream, to let your imagination wander through the uncharted territories of what might have been. In this drifting, there is a curious connection to sleep itself, a state where the mind slips free from the constraints of the present, wandering through realms unbound by logic or time. Sleep is its own deep time, a descent into layers of consciousness, where past and future intertwine, where you might meet those ancient intelligences in the soft haze of dreams. Some say in the whispered corners of 2025 spiritual forums that dreams are more than fleeting images. They are bridges to the collective memory of the planet, the threads that connect us to ancestors, human or otherwise, whose stories linger in the ether. Picture a dream where you walk a forgotten shore, the waves lapping at stones arranged in spirals, their patterns echoing the fairy circles of Namibia or the geoglyphs of Nazca. In this dream, you are not alone. A presence formless yet knowing guides you, its voice a hum in the wind, sharing secrets in a language you feel rather than hear. Could such dreams, as some mystics claim, be echoes of lost worlds, their knowledge encoded in the subconscious, waiting for the quiet of sleep to surface? This idea, though unprovable, stirs a profound wonder. What if the silence of deep time is not a void, but a conversation, one we join each night as we surrender to slumber? The Earth, in its patient turning, does not distinguish between human and pre-human, between the fleeting and the eternal. It holds all stories equally, weaving them into its cycles of erosion and renewal. Our journey through the possibilities of ancient civilizations, whether reptilian thinkers of the Parian, microbial minds of the Aryan, or bioengineered societies of the Aeolian, has shown us that absence is not proof of nothingness. It is a challenge, an invitation to look closer, to question deeper, to listen to the silences that hum with potential. The myths we explored, from the dune's starry wisdom to the sunken lands of Kumariandam, suggest that memory persists in ways beyond stone, carried in songs, stories, and the very pulse of the land. The anomalies the Klerksdorp spheres, the Baltic Sea anomaly, tease us with their ambiguity, daring us to see beyond the natural to the possible. As you drift further, let this thought settle like a soft blanket. Our own legacy, too, is fragile, destined to fade into the Earth's vast archive. We are not alone in our impermanence. We are part of a cycle, a rhythm that pulses through deep time, linking us to every life that ever wondered, built, or dreamed. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once wrote that life can only be understood backward, but must be lived forward. And in this moment, as you hover on the edge of sleep, you are living both, looking back to the shadows of lost worlds, forward to the mysteries that await discovery. This journey then is not about finding definitive proof, but about embracing the sacred act of searching itself. The earth does not owe us its secrets. It offers them only to those who ask with humility and genuine awe. In 2025, as scientists push the boundaries of discovery, mapping the seafloor with autonomous drones, decoding ancient microbial genomes, scanning the cosmos for otherworldly signals, we stand at a threshold, poised to redefine what intelligence truly means. Perhaps the greatest lesson of deep time is that it teaches us to listen not just to the rocks, but to ourselves, to the quiet stirrings of curiosity that drive us to ask, were we really the first? The answer, if it exists, lies not in certainty, but in the profound act of wondering, in the courage to hold space for the beautifully unknown. As you sink deeper into this moment, let your thoughts drift, like leaves on a stream, carried toward the infinite horizon of deep time. Imagine the earth as an ancient storyteller, its voice a low, hypnotic hum in the night, recounting tales of beings who walked, swam, or thought in ways we cannot fathom. In this stillness, you are a time traveler, your presence a fleeting but vital note in the planet's eternal song. The questions we have explored tonight, about lost civilizations, about signals in the soil, about the silence that holds them, are not meant to be solved but savored, letting their weight guide you into peaceful rest. If these tales have stirred your curiosity, dear listeners, join us at Epoch History for Sleep. Share your thoughts below. What mysteries keep your mind wandering in the quiet hours? Turn on that notification bell, and let's keep exploring these hidden worlds together. Sleep well, knowing that you are part of this vast narrative, a thread in the tapestry of existence, woven alongside those who came before and those who will follow. The earth keeps spinning, the stars keep shining, and the mystery endures, waiting patiently for your return. Until we meet again, in the shadows of the past, this is Mr. Zizou, your guide through the depths of forgotten time. Good night, fellow explorers.